Hello there. There's a bit of a change today. I'm taking a look at a mezcal. So it's a spirit from Mexico. So this is Alipus San Luis Joven Mezcal. Now, I should also say this is what's described as an artisanal mezcal. Mezcal translates essentially as cooked agave, a cactus, and as such probably the best mezcal is tequila. Now, tequila has to be made from one of 5 particular production regions and has to be made from blue agave. So tequila is a subset of mezcal. So all tequila is essentially mezcal, but not all mezcal is tequila. For instance, to be labelled as a DOP mezcal, you actually have to come from one of 9 Mexican states. Now, in describing this as an artisanal mezcal, the point there is that evidently when you're making these mezcals artisanally, you're leaving a certain amount of the solids in the distillation, whereas if you were making tequila, you would be distilling pure juice. The reason for doing this is to give a sort of a richer, fuller flavour, and you probably get slightly more sort of the smoky notes of the cooking of the agave hearts as well. Alipus is a brand from the Los Danzantes distillery. And it's a brand that's been produced with the idea of helping and enabling small family-owned distillers from the Oaxaca province of Mexico to produce and to market their mezcal. And Oaxaca is one of those 9 provinces where DOP mezcal can be made. In fact, it's the largest producer of mezcal as such, only behind Jalisco as a region. Jalisco, the area where most tequila is produced. So the second largest producing region for agave spirits in Mexico. And the province lies in the southwest of Mexico. So the 2 people behind this project are somebody called Hector Vasquez and Karina Abad Rojas. And they've worked closely with these small producers to improve production practices and to help them in dealing with the bureaucracy that surrounds exports. And Los Danzantes distilleries say that they take a lower margin on the sales that they put through of these products in order to help these small producers. Now, the agave that's being used here is an agave called agave espadin, and the notes I have say that is an ancestor of blue agave as used in tequila. However, it's also the most common form of agave found in Oaxaca. Now, the town of San Luis, or San Luis del Rio, is a town famous for agave production, and it's at an altitude of about 800 feet above sea level. It's in a narrow valley, and it's the valley of the Rio Hormina, Colorado. And here the agave is able to grow on steep slopes. As I say, most of the producers here are small family-owned operations, doing their own distilling and having their own plots of agave, although possibly wild agave might be used as well. But they're looking for mature agave to harvest, so ideally it's 10 years old before it gets harvested. And with agave, it's slightly different to, say, grape growing, for instance, because once you've harvested the agave piña, the plant dies and has to be replanted. It's not like a grapevine where you take the fruit and the vine continues to grow. So these agave hearts or piñas are roasted in stone pits in the ground with sort of wood fires. And that's where the smoky nature of most mezcals is derived from. The roasted flesh of the cactus heart is then crushed in a stone mill, and fermentation takes place in wooden fermenting vessels. This fermentation goes on slowly. As I say, there are solids left in there, and they're using the yeasts that are naturally present in the environment to conduct that fermentation. Once these slow fermentations are finished, the alcohol is then double distilled in a pot still. Now, most of these stills are, I believe, copper, although they can simply be clay stills, and you'll have a head or a hat over the still, and that could be copper, could be stainless steel, could be wood, could be clay. So there is quite a bit of diversity here in the different styles of the stills that are being used, but these all have to be wood fired, and so it is very much an artisanal product. So let's have a look at it, shall we? I mean, there is very little to say about the colour. That is completely water white. Now, according to the label, this is 48% alcohol, and you can see instantly, without any prompting whatsoever, that there are some quite thick tears of this quite viscous liquid running down the side of the glass there. Now, I've got this in a whiskey snifter glass just to concentrate the aromas, so let's see what we make of this. It's quite strong, so I should be quite careful here. Yes, you've got a number of influences. Obviously, as I say, there's a smokiness that is really quite typical, but there's a mineral note, and there's a slightly almost sort of artificial note, as if there's a sort of a rubber note or something like that. And then you're getting some quite high-toned spirit notes that almost sort of start to take on a sort of a touch of anise. So yes, there's plenty of smoke, there's a bit of dust, as I say, that sort of slightly artificial, slightly rubbery note, and behind that sort of anise perfumes, so slightly lifted, high-toned notes. Let's have a taste, shall we? Unsurprisingly, that's got very warming alcohol, but actually there's a richness and a roundness to it. I was talking about that sort of anise note on the nose, and that's sort of really coming out a lot more. There are sort of quite evocative notes of sort of almost sort of granite, very mineral, slightly dusty, drying, almost gravel notes there as well. Although the smokiness is there, it's not overbearing, it's sitting there. So you've got this sort of quite relatively full-bodied, high alcohol, rich spirit, which is relatively neutral, but has got this sort of anisey richness, touches of fennel, and actually that's sort of bringing in what I was seeing on the nose as touches of rubber, but it's much more attractive on the palate. I mean, I think the point is this is generally used as a base for blending other components on top of. It's clean, it's rich, and the flavours are persisting beautifully. I mean, this is clearly a high quality product that I find really quite interesting. It's highly alcoholic. I'm not sure that I would drink a lot of that, but I think it would pair beautifully with rich fruit juices, for instance. You know, some lime in that or something would be really quite a sort of an exciting combination. So thank you so much for joining us. I do hope you found this an interesting tasting. If you have liked it, do please press the like button. If you'd like to watch more of our tastings, do please subscribe to our channel. It would be fantastic to have your support. If you have any comments you want to leave, please pop those in the comments box below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the tastings we're doing, the products we're looking at, or anything else related to that. I'll leave a link in the notes so that you can see where this is available, what its pricing is, and any other background information we have on this. So thank you very much for joining us, and I do hope you'll manage to make some time to come and join us again for another tasting in the very near future. Bye for now.